Hey, it's Christina with Tinagirl Travels. Today we're going to check out Yanbu, Saudi Arabia. Let's go have a look. We are sailing into the port of Yanbu on the MSC Splendida. Have a look at that amazing coral reef right there. The Red Sea is known for having some of the best snorkeling and diving in the world. We arrived in port at 11 a.m. Passengers were required to be back on board for our sailing by 9 p.m. and the ship departed at 10 p.m. In this video, I'll be talking about how Keith and I spent the day in Yanbu, and I'll also share the available shore excursions that the ship offered in this port, which likely will be the same for any cruise ships docking in Yanbu for the day. I'll also answer some other questions you might have, like what kind of money to use, how to dress, and the visa and passport requirements. Let's go ahead and have a quick look on Google Maps where Yanbu, Saudi Arabia is located. Here we've got the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we've got Jeddah and Mecca right here, and just above that as we scroll in you can see Yanbu right above Jeddah. So as I switch over to satellite view here, you can see this is the area where the cruise ship came through, and that little coral reef area is right there. And this is the historic area that we're going to be having a look at, and as we scroll in a little bit more, this is where the cruise ship's going to be sitting. One of the reasons I like this port so much was because it was so easy to access the old town. You can go back and forth to the ship throughout the day, and it was the only port where you could get a good picture of the ship. All the other ports we visited, like Aqaba, Jeddah, and Sokhana near Cairo, you're hustled onto a waiting bus. There's no loitering around the ship. The security, both by the ship and the port's authorities, are very tight. So the port of Yanbu was a nice port and far more relaxed. When we exited the ship, we showed our MSC cruise card to the security officers on board, and going through the Ports Authority building was super easy and very relaxed. We actually didn't need to show anyone anything at all. And that being said, the ship already knew who had visas for Saudi Arabia and who didn't. We'd been in Jeddah the day before and had gone through all the immigration procedures there. I'm sure that all that information shows up when your card is scanned upon disembarkation. I have more information on the visa process on my video on Jeddah, which I'll link to the end of this video. So the day we arrived in Yanbu was the first day of Ramadan. It's considered one of the holiest months for Muslims and is marked by a period of fasting from sunrise to sunset. So they do not eat or drink anything, including water, until they break their fast after sunset for the evening meal. So Ramadan falls on a different date every year due to the cycles of the moon. Through the arch, you'll find historical Yanbu. This area is experiencing a refresh. Tourism is new to Saudi Arabia, and the country opened its doors to tourism for the very first time in September of 2019. And then a few months later, the world was hit with the pandemic. So Saudi has had a bit of a slow start. This area has been built for tourists. It's a fun place to do some shopping. It's very interesting to see what the merchants are selling. I love souvenir shopping. If you follow my channel, you know I love shopping globally, and I have plenty of videos on my shopping excursions on my channel. You may want to check those out. I found Yanbu and Jeddah really lacking. What I would like to see as a tourist is handmade crafts and items made with Saudi Arabian materials. We did buy these sweets from a lady, and I have no idea what they're called, so please, if you know what they are, please leave me a message in the description below. They're so interesting. They smell like strawberries, and they're quite a firm texture. And they look like really dry. They're kind of like, they have a very intense flavor of strawberry, but they're very dry and crumbly kind of. You definitely need a cup of tea or something to eat this with, but very interesting. I've never tried anything like it. I struggle with bringing up negative things about places that we visit, but when a cruise ship with over 4,000 people with pockets full of money they want to spend pulls up to your doorstep, Even if it is the first day of Ramadan, you open your shops, you find people to fill those shops and sell things, Saudi Arabian things. How about a date shop or even a cold drink shop? It was so hot, we couldn't find drinks anywhere. I love shopping, and I literally spent about $7 on a couple of magnets and those strawberry treats. I would have spent so much more money, but there was nothing to buy. And clean your bathrooms before the company arrives. Okay, I'm done with my rant. Let's talk about the other shore excursions available in Yanbu, and then I'll show you our little walkabout town. This ship offers one shore excursion in and around Yanbu called Yanbu, the City of Two Souls. It's a 3-hour tour taking you on a bus ride out to an abandoned village called Al Nakal, and then coming back to Yanbu, and finally a guided tour through the night market area. That's the area that we were in the beginning with the shops. The ship also offers 2 beachy tours, both 6 hours long. The first one is snorkeling at Iona Reef, which is a reef located near a sunken British ship. You'll board a bus at the ship for a 40-minute drive to the marina, where you'll board a local boat to reach the sunken ship. The tour looks amazing. If we go back to Yanbu, this is the tour I would love to do. The next option is the Breedy Island Getaway. Here you can relax on the beach or enjoy some swimming or snorkeling in the Red Sea. Again, with this one, you'll take the bus to the marina, where you'll be picked up by boat and then taken to Breedy Island for the day. And it looks like there's really good food available on this excursion. The last one I want to tell you about is the 9.5-hour tour to Medina. This tour includes lunch. Medina is considered the second holiest city in the Arab world. Here you'll visit the oldest mosque in the world. Lunch will be at an Arabic-style restaurant, and this is a full day with 3 hours on the bus each way. But it still sounds very interesting and worth the drive. All right, here's some footage from our little walkabout. Okay, we're gonna cross over here. Oh, there's the ship. Okay, so this just gives you an idea. The ship is just right on top there. There it is. And we've just walked straight down the street, and we're gonna cross over when it's safe. It's a little crazy. Okay, we made it across the street, and we're just gonna head kind of in a triangular walk back towards the old town and towards the ship. This is the route we walked. Here's where the ship is docked. We walked up this street right here, up to the roundabout, down this boulevard, and down this street here, back to the old town. And as I scroll out here, you can see how tiny the area is that we covered. There's a lot more to Yanbu. It's very difficult to walk here. There aren't really any sidewalks, and I really wish there were more tours offered around Yanbu. There must be more to the city worth seeing. I'd love to see a hop-on, hop-off type bus service when the ships are in port. Drop people off at Flamingo Beach Park. This place looks pretty cool. Or even at the mall. Next time we come here, I'd like to hire a taxi and take a drive around town. Because this area is new to tourism, things aren't really in place yet. They're working on restoring their old buildings and making it a tourist-friendly area. So we've just been walking past sort of that cruise ship area and into sort of the town a little bit more. And it's quite something. Let me show you what's behind me here. So you see these old rundown buildings, and these are historical buildings that they're going to be restoring. While we're walking back towards the ship, let's talk about what to wear while in port. Saudi Arabia is a very conservative country. Traditionally, women wear an abaya, which is a long robe or cloak that covers the whole body over their everyday clothing. Now I need to address something here because I got quite a bit of feedback from people in my Jeddah video that I recently posted. Not every woman dresses like this. Not every woman covers their head. But generally, when you're visiting the places that we visited, if you do see a woman, they will likely be covered from head to toe with only their eyes showing or their eyes and their nose showing. Depending on where you're from, that can be an unusual thing to see, but it's all good. As for men, they can wear anything from the traditional thobe to jeans and a t-shirt. In 2019, Saudi introduced the Public Decency Law, which explains what does and does not count as good attire in public for men and women. Basically, loose-fitting clothing that covers to the elbow and below the ankle is recommended for both men and women in public. So this is what we wore, long pants, and I always wore at least a 3/4 length sleeve. Before we get into my favorite part of our visit, let's quickly chat about how to pay for things. For this trip, we had American cash as well as some euros. Everyone we encountered accepted both currencies, but for the most part, we used credit cards. I had a lovely comment from Tasneem Islam 3364 on my Jeddah video on YouTube, who said that every business in Saudi, including street vendors and taxis, is required by law to accept cards. So that's helpful. They also mentioned that not only do they have Uber, but there are also other ride shares that you can check out, like Kareem and Genie. Thank you for that super helpful information, Tasneem. Once we finished our walk, we found a very cool and modern coffee shop right in the historic area called Asul Coffee. We had a very interesting coffee called a rose coffee and a lovely pastry that unfortunately I didn't get a picture of. Here's the rose latte. It was so delicious and it was actually red in color. You know, for me, when I travel, I love going to where the locals go. I love to see what they do, where they shop, where they play, what they buy, and how they live life. I love chatting with the locals, and popping into this store was one of the highlights of our visit to Yanbu. It's so interesting being from Canada and seeing what kinds of products they have on their shelves that we have on ours. Like, what's so great about this honey, and why is this little bottle almost $30 Canadian? It must be amazing, and now in hindsight, I wish I had bought some. So this store was located right across the street from the historic area. The owner allowed me to film, and my husband Keith had a wonderful conversation with him. We wish we had gotten his name, so if you get a chance, go visit him. Buy some of these Saudi Arabian dates and tell him the Canadians say hello. After we left the store, we were standing on the sidewalk looking at the historic area when the owner came over and handed Keith a bag with something inside. What did the nice man give you, Keith?
He gave me a package of, looks like dates.
Yeah, they look beautiful.
Beautiful. Very nice man.
Saudi Arabia is famous for its dates. They are the perfect souvenir to bring home to friends and family. We've been waiting patiently all day for something to happen here in the historic center. Another thing that would be helpful in this area is a tourist center, or even a signboard explaining what time everything will open. Just any information at all really would have been nice. Behind us there seems to be lots of restaurants starting to get ready to open. This looks really interesting. Let's head over and have a look. Okay, I love this seating area, all these comfy seats, and have a look at all the air conditioning units that are situated right beside all of the seats. What is this? Oh, not sure what that is. Maybe strawberries? So I'm not really sure who this is all set up for. Is this for the locals and they're all going to come out in about half an hour when Ramadan is over, or for the cruise ship passengers? So you can see as we look around that there's a real lack of cruise ship passengers walking around. And remember, just steps away, there's about 4,000 passengers and crew on board this giant ship. And I think what's happened is that people are a little underwhelmed by Yanbu, and they just headed back onto the ship after walking around for a little bit. So just thinking out loud here, is this an MSC cruise line problem or a Saudi tourism problem? It's been such a hot day and all I want is an iced cold drink. But let's head on over and have a look at the menu of this restaurant.
And here we have the Arabic menu. But thankfully for technology, we have Google Translate. Look at that.
Okay, I'll have the chicken sandwich at the time and my husband will have the kinda sandwich. This area is just so cool and beautiful, and I just wish it was full of people. You're gonna fix your hair?
Stupid.
Okay, we're rolling. So, I keep calling it Yamba, but it's Yanbu. Yanbu, Saudi Arabia.
Yanbu.
Oh, are they
Well,
spiraling up there? Okay.
That's the mosque.
Okay. Sorry, we're going to get interrupted by the call to prayer. We have been waiting all day for Ramadan to end, and apparently this area was supposed to just erupt in excitement and food and stuff. And so we've been sitting here on this bench, ship behind us there, and it's pretty...
The party is just heating up.
Apparently the party was going to heat up here. We were told that. So I don't know if it's too early or what, but yeah. So I think that's signaling the end of Ramadan. I think the party's about to start. Sadly, the party never started. I still really like Yanbu, and I liked our relaxing day here. If you're coming in on a cruise ship, this is definitely a port you might want to book a shore excursion. Aside from the 9-hour Medina excursion, the long day in port will still allow you to have time to walk around and see this area. I'm sure as this area develops more and more, it'll become an amazing port of call. Consider hiring a taxi with some areas in mind that you might want to see. If you haven't watched my video on Jeddah, I'll link that to the end of this video. I've also added links below to some of my favorite anti-theft day packs and crossbody bags, perfect for keeping your passports and valuables safe. You'll want to check those out. Thanks for watching my video on Yanbu, Saudi Arabia. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss out on all the videos I have coming up from the rest of this incredible trip. I'll see you next time on Tinagirl Travels.